My name is Danilo Petrovic.
I'm Ilya Marchenko.
I'm Denis Kudla.
I'm Evgeny Donskoy.
I'm Henry Laaksonen.
I'm Peter Torebko, and you're listening to the Game to Love podcast.
Started off the year with 17 Grand Slams. Now he's on the brink of 21. I don't know if anybody can stop him. Is he gonna become the greatest of all time?
Hey, welcome back again, tennis fans. It is the US Open quarter-final time this time. And this time we're talking about the men's side. There's some hot matchups coming up, but we had some amazing matchups in the last round. Most notably, we got to start off talking about JG. What a performance by Jensen Brooksby against Novak Djokovic last night. I was blown away. His first match on Arthur Ashe in front of all his home crowd, came out of the blocks fast, didn't he?
Well, talking about the crowd, they played their part as well. The atmosphere was electric. It was one of them matches where you're watching it and thinking, I wish I was there. Brooksby was incredible. He played his part. He won the first set 6-1. He ended up losing the second set to Djokovic 6-2, I believe. Was it 6-2 or 6-3?
I think it was 6-3, but let me bring it up and
confirm.
I think
you're right. It was 6-3, but it was just crazy. It wasn't like a dominant Djokovic performance. Both of them played out of their skin. We had one service game from Djokovic where he ended up getting broken, which was about 20 minutes long. And the level of tennis was amazing. It was really nice for a change as well to be watching a match on such a big stage without having to stream it. As much as I love doing these, it was nice just to sit there in silence and just absorb it and watch it without having to constantly talk and commentate on something. And I thought Brooksby was amazing. And this is now another youngster who's come to the big stage and shown us what they're capable of and how well they can play.
It's exciting. It really is exciting. And it's just the youth coming through. And there was a lot of, I noticed the commentators were saying last night that everyone thought Roger out, Rafa out, this tournament's going to be a bit sad. But apparently in the changing rooms, all of the youngsters are like chomping at the bit to get out there because they think this could be their opportunity. And it's really showing in this tournament. They're all fired up and we're seeing some of the best young talent on tour. Brooksby, if he didn't face Djokovic, I think he could have gone maybe one step further. But
agreed. There's a lot of other players you would have beaten playing like that.
But
we've got Stephanie here saying it's the best US Open.
Well, they've been saying it. A lot
of people are, and I tend to agree with them as well because I think we've seen a bit of everything. There's been a lot of excitement in there, and the matches we've seen so far have been outstanding. So many 5-setters, sort of comebacks and tense sets and moments where players are down and having to recover, big seeds going out, youngsters coming through. It has been very exciting, and I just can't wait to see what is to come because really we've not really reached the business end of the tournament. I feel like the business end starts now. So
Well,
quarterfinals, we always do these quarterfinal podcasts. This is where we should now see boys to men, girls to ladies, to women. That's the time to take that next step to get to and become something special. And I think we're in store for some even better tennis than we've seen already.
Oh, I really hope so. Well, I was sort of alluding to it the whole way through the first week. Lots of people have been saying, "Oh, what's wrong with Djokovic? Why does he keep losing sets? Blah, blah, blah." He didn't have any warm-up tournaments. I said he's going to take about 4 matches maybe to start getting into the swing of things. That's like a tournament for him, like warm-up. Now we're into like the quarter-final stages. I thought against Brooksby, I think even though Brooksby played great, it was just crazy how well you can play against Novak Djokovic and still be 5-2 down in a set. It was like the best level of tennis I think I've seen all tournament from Brooksby, but he was still 5-2 down. And that is credit to Novak Djokovic. And it's why I love watching him play so much is I watched his post-match press conference and he just said, I've never played him before. He's new on the scene. I studied him a little bit, but when you only know when you go on court with someone when you get the feel for it. And I just didn't get going. I couldn't find my rhythm in the first set, and Brooksby played a perfect set. And it took me a while to work out where his weaknesses were. And then once he found them, Djokovic was back again, wasn't he? And we got to see what we always see. It's a scary prospect for other people because once he's worked you out, then it's sort of the Djokovic show. And I felt
well, on this topic, there was a tweet I wanted to share with you, but I don't think I sent it to you. But Ratika, they reminded me in the chat. Andy Roddick said it best. He wrote some good tweets about Djokovic on the night, and they've summarized him perfectly, the way he is. And a big thing we need to sort of remember with Djokovic is what he's improved so much these last few years is his gas tank. He now has a crazy gas tank where he can go against young players coming through, whereas you'd look at it normally on paper and you think, oh, the older guy on tour, he might struggle the longer the match goes on.
I know.
But with him, it seems to be the opposite. And the young guns, they physically can't keep up with him in a 4th set or a 5th set because the intensity of the tennis throughout the sets is too much for him. And his gas tank is incredible. It was honestly something I've never seen before. And you can look across a lot of sports. He's like a marathon runner, I feel, in tennis.
Yeah, I saw he's just having a look now quickly. He said he's retweeted something from somebody else. I can tell the in-court interview, Novak wasn't happy about the takes your soul part, basically saying he's evil. But it's sort of fitting a little bit.
That's what he said. First he takes your legs, then he takes your soul.
Well, I don't think it's an evil thing. I think it's just I can imagine like a cartoon or a meme or something created by someone of a really good picture of that. My mental image of that would be Brooksby's soul leaving his body on the court, maybe something like that, because it's so difficult. You're 20 years old, yet this guy down the other end who's been on the tour for nearly 20 years is just much fitter, got the endurance. It's just so crazy. And I'm always just shocked by how he comes back, how he works people out. And I think Berrettini, he's been speaking out a little bit and saying, I think I've got a great chance against Djokovic. He's stepping up now, saying, do not write me off.
Well, I'm glad you said that. I think that's the perfect segue to get onto the next bit. If you click on the first tab, we've got the men's quarterfinals there. We're going to go through all of them. And I think the best way to start is who we've been talking about, Novak Djokovic, Berrettini. And Berrettini's been giving it the big one. He's feeling super confident. I don't know if we want to get some of the quotes up from him, but he is really.
Which one was the one from him? Which
Luigi, I think.
Luigi, is it? Okay, yeah. Here we go.
So Berrettini, I believe in my abilities. I think I can beat Djokovic. We've had some tight matches recently, so I am confident. And the other day I was saying about in the other press conference, he's saying he's up there with the likes of Zverev, Tsitsipas, Medvedev. He believes in himself a lot, and he thinks now that he is ready to beat Djokovic. We're looking at the last encounters. They've been close. Berrettini's taken a set, but I think he's lost both times in 4, hasn't he? So...
yeah, I mean, it's been very close. Berrettini always good for a set, and that's the thing you've got to remember about him, because he's got that huge serve. he's going to cause anybody problems, and Djokovic especially. The only thing is he's the best returner in the game. So if that serve, if he starts working it out, you're in trouble. Or he starts guessing it, the onboard computer starts going and starts working out the percentages of where you're serving. And I just think Berrettini has to hit big. He has to hit lines, and he has to serve a lot of aces or unreturnables to even get a set.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with you. Obviously, Berrettini's route. Who's he beaten recently?
Berrettini's route. Well, I'll just bring that up because it's going to be a lot easier than me just going through it. Right. Berrettini's route that he had, his first round was against, we thought it was going to be tough. Shardy. It actually wasn't as straightforward as 3-Love said, but he had 2 tie breaks in that one.
Yeah. Very
close match. The Mutet one, he dropped 1 set. The Ivashka one, he dropped 2 sets and went through in 5. And Otte felt a bit bad for him last night. I think he was struggling a bit by the end.
It was comfortable. And looking on this one, I guess it's called the prediction show. We've got Djokovic 3 matches away now from completing history and being the first man in the Open era to get the calendar year slam.
Yeah.
Can he do it? That's the big question everyone's wondering. Well, he's got to beat Berrettini first, and I think he does. So my prediction for this one could shock some people. But I see it going to 5 sets. I think it's going to be a 5-set match and Djokovic prevails. I know Berrettini, they've last 2 times they played, one at Roland Garros, one Wimbledon final. I believe they were both 4 sets.
Yeah.
I think this time Berrettini is going to take an extra one and it's going to be in 5 sets.
I think it's going to be more of the same. I think it's going to be 4 sets. I think it's going to be I think Berrettini comes out the traps fast, and it's that same thing with Djokovic. It's just about working out how to counter it. And once he's worked it out, I think then it's the same thing. The last few sets, it's Djokovic's. So I'm going to go Djokovic in 4.
It's crazy they've played on all of the slams apart from Australia this year.
Yeah, it is. Maybe that's coming in January. Who knows?
Was the Roland Garros one a semi-final or a quarter-final?
Quarterfinals.
So it's 2 quarterfinals and 1 final. So it's always the business end of these events as well. But we both agree there. Djokovic progresses. You've got 4 sets. I'm going for 5 sets. So moving on, I'm not sure where you want to go next.
Should we go
keep this side of the draw?
Yeah, go down. We'll go to Alex Zverev versus Lloyd Harris. I think we should speak about Lloyd Harris first here because
I agree.
What a performance from him against Riley Opelka in the last round. And I know that we were sort of alluding to it on one of the watch-alongs. He breadsticked Riley Opelka. I don't think there's many people on tour that breadstick Riley Opelka. So hard to even break his serve. Really, really good performance. And yet again, he's shown, like he did against Shapo, force to be reckoned with.
Well, I don't want to go back too far, but it's something I don't really want to talk about either. But let's go to Washington. He beat Rafael Nadal, remember?
Yep.
So Lloyd Harris is in great, great form. He then he lost to Riley Opelka, of all people, in Toronto. And he's now avenged it and managed to come back and beat him here at the US Open. It's been a tricky US Open draw for him. I know you thought Hachinov would have had a good run in this tournament. He had him first round, beat him in 5. Then beat Escobedo very comfortably, straight sets. Shapovalov, straight sets. And we can do a whole podcast on Shapo and how disappointing he is on the big stage. But Harris still managed to beat him. And then Opelka, like you said in the last one. So we're going into this match now for Lloyd Harris against Zverev. And I don't think it's a certainty Zverev smashes him.
I think he's a scary prospect, to be honest, Lloyd Harris. He's an unknown entity, probably. I'm not sure if they have a head-to-head. Let me just check on Zverev.
The thing is with that, I didn't even bother looking because I'm not sure if it means too much. I feel like Harris now is peaking. And he's hitting that level where we saw him in a final, didn't we, against Karatsev this year. And he's having a great season, but he's been dipping in and out. But now I'm seeing him sort of taking it to the next level. And I think he's going to be a matter of time until he's knocking on the door of, say, top 20 in the world, because he's certainly good enough. He's got a brilliant serve, and he's really good returner. People don't talk about the return to serve. If he's just been able to beat Riley Opelka like he did and return them powerful serves, then that's the perfect preparation, I feel, for Zverev. Because Zverev's biggest weapon is going to be his first serve. And if
Well,
Lloyd Harris is going to be able to neutralise that and get it into the rally, I think Harris is going to have a really good shot of making this one competitive.
well, I'm going to go against that. They played each other in Cincinnati just about, 2-3 weeks ago, and Zverev beat him in straight sets. There was a tie break in there, so you never know. That could go another way on another occasion, but the second set, pretty
Well, I think
convincing.
that would a tie break, mate, in a set against him. Then I think that would sort of back up what I was saying. Then it's going to be close.
In Cologne last year, they went to 3 sets, but he did the final set. Zverev strong, bageled him in the final set.
Yep.
I think it's one of these. It's going to be a very interesting one because we've seen Lloyd Harris in some finals. We saw him in the final against Aslan Karatsev, obviously in Dubai, and he got beaten. But Karatsev was just in hot form in that tournament, as we know, just coming off that Australian Open semi-final.
I feel like Lloyd Harris in that tournament, he beat loads of top
beat
players.
Shapo as well, I think. In that
Did he beat
one.
Tsitsipas?
I think he beat Dominic Thiem.
Dominic Thiem, that's it.
Yeah,
he
exactly.
He was in some great form during that one.
Really
For the
good
prediction, though, I don't think he beats Zverev. As much as I'm saying it, I think it's going to be more of the same between them. And I'm going to be going for not straight sets again, 4 sets, but for Zverev.
I'm going to be going Zverev in 3. I think that there's a mental.
He's your pick, isn't he, to win the whole thing?
Yeah, there is a mental block, I feel, at the moment with Lloyd Harris, maybe in just the bigger matches, and I think this will class as a big match for him. I'm hoping I'm wrong for him because I want to see him keep progressing because we've followed him all the way from the challengers to where he is now. I just don't. I think Zverev's looking very. You saw what he did against Sinner. It wasn't really even though it was close. It wasn't close. It was a bit of a strange match. It was close until it wasn't, and Sinner sort of wasted his opportunities. And you can't do that against Zverev. If Harris does the same thing and wastes opportunities, I think it's going to be another straight sets victory for Zverev.
Yep, fair enough.
Yeah.
Moving over to the other side.
Indeed,
and
yes.
This is there's a few more shocks on this one. To say the least. I think the Djokovic Berrettini one was pretty standard. Zverev reaching there was standard. Lloyd Harris, of course, no one expected that, but that's brilliant for him. On this other side, though, there's only Medvedev.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone would have predicted the other lot there.
No.
Maybe Felix, potentially. I think I actually had Felix in this stage. But
you're doing well, you are.
There wouldn't have been many people who had any of these players on the other side. Medvedev is the fixture. It's them 3 who were the big favourites before. It's good that they've all made it this far. Tsitsipas is the only one really missing from that top right-hand box. And if we start from the top-hand right box, we've got Alcaraz and Felix. Alcaraz, we was talking about it. We were saying how it could be a big breakout tournament for him. And it's happened exactly like that. And he's just looking amazing.
Well, he is. And it's quite interesting as well to see his progression through this tournament has sort of been similar to Felix as well. I mean, he did a straight sets against Norrie. Felix has had a straight sets against Sabata Morales. He's gone to 4 with Rinderknecht. Felix went to 4 with Donskoy. He went to 5 with Batista Agut, Felix. Tsitsipas, 5 for Alcaraz. And then in the last round, he went to 5 with Gojovcik, but the last set you can't really count. I think that was more of a 4-setter, to be honest. And then and Felix 4 sets against TFO. So I think they've had similar amounts of time on court, and they're close in age. He's a little bit younger than him, couple of years.
I just feel like Alcaraz, he's had the more grueling of matches. Getting through Tsitsipas like he did, that's like 5 matches in one. It felt like that was so difficult for him to overcome emotionally, physically. Now he's done it. I don't know if you saw Dominic Thiem. He's been doing some work for, I believe, the tennis channel, and he's been commentating on some of the matches.
Oh, nice.
I don't think during the match, sorry, more sort of his analysis after it and before. Yeah. And he's been doing like his predictions for all of the matches. It's quite interesting to see his thoughts on some of these players. And what he's saying about Alcaraz is just amazing. He really thinks that he's going to be the next best thing. And he didn't want to be disrespectful to Felix, but he was kind of saying that this is a great draw for him to be having Felix in a quarterfinal of a Grand Slam. No disrespect to Felix, but it could have been a lot worse. And you'd have to say it's a winnable match for him. It's not something which is completely out of reach. If he's just beating the likes of Tsitsipas, even Cam Norrie, I'll throw him in the hat. You could argue that them two are a lot tougher than Felix.
Yeah, well, possibly. I mean, Felix has got sometimes a mental block, and he shows a little bit of mental fragility on the court, which you cannot afford to show. I think he was good in Wimbledon, though. Beat Zverev. I mean, that was a good
Yeah.
sign from Felix. That was sort of, I'm hoping, turning the corner on his Grand Slam stage now. And he's only 21. So you've got to remember, he's still very young. He's been to a lot of finals as well. He's made it deep in tournaments. We just haven't seen him win anything. And that's the one thing. He could still go deep in this tournament. Is he going to win anything? That's the question. I think that could be a 5-setter, though, to be honest. Again, I don't want to put them all through it again. But I think it's got about 4 hours written all over it, that match. And I think that we could see some tie breaks. I think Felix could take some tie breaks in that match. He's got, for me, the better serve for sure out the two of them. But Alcaraz, probably the better all-round game. Definitely the better backhand. But Felix, it's just whether he can get it onto his forehand and hit winners. And if he shows signs of nerves, you watch, Alcaraz is going to get the crowd rocking. As soon as he starts hitting some winners, they're going to be on his side, and he's going to make sure of it. That's the exciting thing about Alcaraz. He's not shy, and I like that about him.
Yeah, and I think based off what you're saying, it's a really tricky one to predict. Sort of my head saying Felix wins, but my heart is going to be with Alcaraz. I've got to predict him to go through. As much as I think it's going to be tough, I'm going to go Alcaraz in 4 sets. I'm
going to go Alcaraz in 5.
Okay, so we're both going for Alcaraz. Poor Felix. Yet again, getting deep in the tournament and struggling for them final few touches.
I think he's been on court longer, though. You've got to remember this. Felix, I've just looked through them all. He's had more time on court. When he played Donskoy, was over 4 hours on court. So he's been on the court over 4 hours twice in this tournament so far. The one against TFO as well, that was 3.5 hours. So he's had 3 exceedingly long matches. Whereas Alcaraz, I would say he's had the Tsitsipas one 4 hours, and then the last one 3.5 hours, but sort of had the last set off. So I'd say that he'd come in maybe a little bit fresher, being the younger kid as well.
I'm not sure if that's much of a factor. I think they've both been on court a lot, and Alcaraz did look a bit fatigued there was spells in that Djokovic one where he looked a bit tired. But let's move on to the last one, because I know we're short of time. Van der Zansla versus Daniel Medvedev. Probably, I'm glad we've left this one last, because without being disrespectful to Van der Zansla, I think he's amazing. I just don't give him no chance against Daniel Medvedev.
I mean,
out of all of them, it seems to be the most one-sided, and I see it going that way. Van der Zansla, of course, been so impressive. He was a qualifier, wasn't he? And he's just sort of been flying through the draw. The best one, probably the Schwartzman result.
All Ruud. Casper Ruud as well. Don't forget, he's knocked out
the clay
a couple.
Courts. He's knocking out all the clay courts on the hard courts.
That's the one thing, and I sort of alluded to it, even going through from all the way from the qualifiers, where he's beaten a lot of clay court players, and he's had Taberner, Ruud, Bagnis, and Schwartzman. It's clay court.
It's bad. The last few rounds, Taberner, Ruud, Bagnis, Schwartzman. They're all clay quarters. They've all been super tight. He's not been able to do anything in straight sets, not even in the qualifiers.
No.
He dropped a set to Ben Shelton in the qualifiers. Barrios, another clay core. Kakard, another one who's great on the clay as well. I think Kakard can be a bit more... He's great on hard courts as well. But Van der Zansla, he's just showing that his domain is hard courts, and he's beating everyone else. I think with the draw, he's been quite fortunate in that regard, that he's not matched up against, say, a big, heavy-hitting... hard court player. But now he's going to meet one. So he's meeting the ultimate one in Daniel Medvedev, who has breezed through the tournament. Let's be honest. Has there been any moment where it's been in doubt Medvedev doesn't win the match? We spoke about on the draw preview when it come out. Medvedev's draw looks so comfortable.
Yeah, it's nice.
I would say Djokovic close second, with his draw being quite comfortable until this stage. This is where the tournament begins for Djokovic and Medvedev, I thought. But Medvedev still is not going to really start, because I think he's going to beat Van der Zansla in a matter of, I don't know, it might just be over 2 hours or something.
Yeah, probably.
3 sets, and that's it. I can't really say much more on that one.
Is he going to shock the world again, Van der Sar? You look at all of his matches, dropping all those sets, and the amount of hours he's played in the last even 2 weeks, it's ridiculous. How is he still running around the court? It's beyond me. And Medvedev's just played 12 sets, and that's it.
Yeah.
He's through
It
to
could
the
be an hour and a half or something like that, if I'm honest.
potentially. But we could. Is he suddenly going to find his best ever performance of his career, Van der Zandschulp? We don't know, because Medvedev, I don't know. He has a wobbly here and there. I don't see it happening. I see Medvedev in straight sets.
Yeah.
But anything can happen. This tournament's been a little bit crazy. Is this going to be the next crazy moment coming up? I don't know.
And the craziest thing really is we've agreed on every quarterfinal, not the sets, but we have.
Yeah.
For people just listening, Djokovic, Zverev from that side, and the other side, Alcaraz, which is a bit of a shock, I guess, and Medvedev. So we're going to have Alcaraz sort of crammed in.
Things with the heart more than the head. Too much
Just
we're going
think of it
with.
from Alcaraz's perspective. He's going to be in the last 4 of this tournament, maybe, with Djokovic, Zverev, and Medvedev at the US Open.
Well, let's just say, imagine there's a freak upset and Van der Zandschulp won in 5 again or something. He's super tired. He's been on court for another 5 hours, and Alcaraz got it done fairly quickly. It'll be Alcaraz, Van der Zandschulp semi-final. Wouldn't you fancy?
Alcaraz would be the bookies' favourite to be in a Grand Slam final.
Well, at least he's not.
All he needs then is for Berrettini to beat Djokovic, Harris to beat Zverev, then Harris to make the final. Then we could have a Harris-Alcaraz final.
Well,
and then Alcaraz would be the favourite for the US Open. But that's the only way that's ever going to happen.
I think it's interesting to look at some of the odds as well, because all of the 18-year-olds are all the underdogs finally in their matches. So maybe there's a good treble there. Who knows? The Alcaraz, Fernandez, Raducanu treble.
But anyway, I think we'll wrap that one up because we're going to be doing the women's one just right now. So make sure to join us in the other podcast. We'll be coming live in about a few minutes' time. Just to summarize, really, I know the title was Djokovic going for the calendar year slam, and he's in good company. I know you've got a little graphic there. You can see 79 wins now in the US Open, tied with Agassi. Still got a way to get to Federer, but you'd expect, well, a few more tournaments and he'll be there.
Yeah.
Connors, that's a tough one to reach. But really I don't know. I think Djokovic is going to go for all these titles. He's going to go for all these records, and it's hard to see that he doesn't do them. And on the subject of can Djokovic get the calendar year slam, I guess we'll have to wait and see, because the Zverev one is where we both predict him going out. So we'll talk about that if we are to get it very soon.
I predict him going out. You predict him going to the final.
Oh, sorry, you've got him going out there, but I've got him going out the final. But we still have the same outcome.
I'm more worried now after watching last night's performance, because I thought Brooksby was amazing, and I think he just completely shut him down, took his soul, as Andy Roddick said.
Perfect. Thanks for listening, guys. If you haven't already, please hit the like button on the video, subscribe if you're new, and we'll see you in a few minutes for the women's.
See you in a bit, guys.